Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Multiple XRP chart analysts say that the XRP chart is showing a bull flag and that we're about to rocket upward, depending on which analyst you ask, maybe upwards of $5 in the short term. Not that that's the high. No. In the short term, I see that $5 price range or higher. And I've got perspective in this video from, I think, maybe 6 or 7 different XRP chart analysts. But before hopping into that, and I do have plenty of XRP-specific content in this latest Moon Lambo hot jam, I want to give some broader reasons, including some information about Bitcoin, that indicate, yes, we should be very optimistic for this to happen because the entire crypto asset class, it moves in tandem. It's a big old web. Everything's entangled here. And so the stuff that I'm going to share first, having to do with that, should give you even more confidence that what the analysts are saying specifically about XRP is highly probable to occur. I mean, we even have Coindesk, aka FUDdesk, in the XRP community, because they write so much crap about XRP, and they have been since well before I jumped into crypto in 2017. Even they have an article talking about how XRP is about to rocket, and that there is a bull flag playing out right now. Which, it's kind of unreal to see. Like, when Coindesk is forced to come around and be like, yeah, this bitch going higher, yeah, then I'm like, well, that's interesting, because all you've done is crap all over XRP and say irrational stuff and FUD all over it for like a decade at this point. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it is, in case you're curious, 3:54 a.m. Central Time, which is my time zone in the Midwest here in the United States. 3:54 a.m. Central on, now it's Friday, December 13th, 2024. We got XRP at $2.32. Bitcoin back above 100K. Love to see that. 100,284 bucks. And this really is mostly just consolidation. So here's the 24-hour chart for XRP. Nothing surprising here. 24-hour high of $2.45. 24-hour low of $2.30. Even if it does go lower from here in the short term, I don't think it's going to matter much. So just, you'll see as we get a little bit further in the video, but it's kind of like, so just as we had this symmetrical triangle play out for a span of nearly 7 years, like, and I'll show you what they're talking about with this bull flag later in the video, but, this thing's going to break out, and before it reaches the apex is when things break out. And I know I'm not a chart guy, but I'm just aware of this, having followed a ton of chart analysts for the better part of a decade here. Now that we're in a bull run, though, you don't have to wait like half a year for XRP to consolidate before we can consider something to move. No, we're in the bull run. Things develop very quickly compared to what we're used to over the last few years. So yeah, things going to get hot real quick here in all likelihood. Then here's a Bitcoin. It's been consolidating here too. 99,408 is the 24-hour low. 102,442 bucks, 24-hour high. Crypto Fear and Greed Index 76 out of 100. So we are in extreme greed. I don't mind that. You greedy sons of bitches out there. Here's what chart analyst Blutz had to say. I shared this with his 304,000 followers on X. And this is important, again, to be clear, in case you're new to the channel or new to crypto, the reason that this matters, even if you don't care about Bitcoin, is because Bitcoin leads the market. If Bitcoin's going to go dramatically to the upside, we will be the beneficiaries of that in the XRP community and pretty much, anybody that's holding alts. We're the ones that are going to win. Because whatever the multiplier effect is from here, even if it goes beyond people's wildest dreams and does even a 3x from here, let's say it gets real crazy and does that, even though most analysts I follow say it's not probable, not literally impossible, but not probable. But say that improbable scenario happens. Okay, great, you tripled your money. What do you think that will mean for altcoins? You're going to see coins going 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x, depending on which coin it is. Because there's so much less money in them, and so to get those multiplier effects, it doesn't take as much money flowing in. And when you get mania and people jumping in on the retail side that just want to gain a quick buck, yeah, they follow wherever the green candle is. At that point, it's not about fundamentals. Maybe for you and I, it's about fundamentals if you've been here for more than 5 seconds. Maybe you do, because honestly, I think utility matters and will win the day. That's at the core of my investment thesis. But when it comes to the euphoria phase of the bull market, no, that no longer matters as much. Not for the new people jumping in that are causing all of these things to run, but it's people like you and I that have created what is effectively a price floor because there are so many of us out there that will just refuse to sell no matter how low it goes because we're like, no, you're wrong. We're taking the opposing bet on that. And so Bluntz wrote, at some stage in the next week, this chop on Bitcoin will end and everything will start sending again. Looking from the $50,000 lows, I think there's still plenty of legs higher yet to go before we can start contemplating the idea of a top. I can't see any possible count that implies we have topped or we are near one. We'll reevaluate in late Q1 and see where we are, but until then, dips still for buying, in my opinion. Okay, so he's talking about Bitcoin there. The people who should be most interested in buying the dips on Bitcoin, in my humble opinion, would just be the trader types out there. Because, like I just said a second ago, in terms of multiplier effect, this is not the play, very obviously. Now, the vast majority of analysts that I follow, in fact, almost all of them believe, yes, Bitcoin's going to go substantially higher, and they'll all debate amongst themselves as to what that means, whether it's 120,000 high, 150,000, 200,000, whatever. Suffice it to say, way higher. And then we'll be looking for top indicators to say, hey, based on historic precedent, it's getting kind of hot here. It's getting risky to keep holding crypto. At some point, this bubble's going to fully inflate and then pop, and I'm going to talk about it on the channel when we get there. We're just not seeing those types of indicators yet, even though we absolutely can and will, and we have seen corrections to the downside along the way. That's just normal. Here's a post from chart analyst Mustache. This is a market cap for Tether dominance percentage. And here he wrote, chart analyst Mustache, and he shared this with he's growing quickly too here, 146,900 followers. And he said, hashtag altcoins. Once the orange line, which is right here, for those of you looking on the screen, once the orange line, which is the Tether dominance, on the Tether dominance chart here, breaks down, you don't want to be sidelined. Yes, we've already seen some crazy gains, but that is nothing compared to what is yet to come. The steeper the curve to the upside, the wilder it gets. Okay, so a couple of things here. The reason that I'm highlighting this and what he's getting at here is that once the dominance of Tether breaks to the downside, meaning Tether, there's less money in Tether than there is right now. That's because Tether, historically, it just means that it's being sold, and then that is being placed directly into altcoins. Or there can be a Tether pair, of course, so it doesn't have to go straight to a fiat currency and then into it. There are obviously tons of Tether pairs out there in all sorts of exchanges, but what I'm getting at is it means that the value that's in Tether right now is put into altcoins and then they run. That results in the dominance of Tether going down. This happens every cycle. And so you can see, that's why it's so interesting to look at this stuff. So if you're an XRP holder, you can get a feel for this because this is all intertwined. This matters to you, even if you don't hold Tether or stable. It doesn't matter. This impacts all of us. And so as the altcoin market heats up, because we're in alt season right now, we're absolutely in alt season right now, tons of this money is going to end up in XRP and other altcoins. That's why I'm showing you this. Now, that the last sentence here is very interesting too, because this is unquestionably true, and I'm going to show you something in the next post actually that you're going to find fascinating. But he wrote here, the steeper the curve to the upside, the wilder it gets. Now, if you're not looking at the screen and you're in a safe place where you can do so, like for instance, if you're not driving, take a look at the screen, because this is like a great visualization that shows you what you should expect from a historic precedent when it comes to blow off tops for alt seasons. Because like the pace with which prices increase, it will blow your mind. And it's so quick. It's, oh my God. The gains, they're just so precipitous. And that does signal the end. And you'll be wondering, oh my God, like, should I sell this or that? And you can panic. And it's going to cause a lot of stress, excitement, but also some stress associated with this because you'll be second guessing yourself. And I made a whole video about that yesterday, so I don't want to focus on that in this video. But that's what's ahead here. Now, it's for a very short period of time. The number of days that occurs in the span of a cycle, I mean, it could be just, it could literally just be months. Maybe 100 days, whatever it ends up being. So it's a very short period of time when you consider that it takes 4 years, for an entire cycle to begin and then end. So it's a short percentage of the time. But it is the most fun, and it's where you get the most wild gains. It happens very quickly. And so here's what chart analyst Tony Severino highlighted. Now, this is about Bitcoin, but this is true for the entire market. The type of increase that he's highlighting here, this happens across the board, right? This happens in altcoins. And different coins will pop off at different times. It'll vary a little bit. And you can even have coins that will pop off before, or rather, well, both actually, before Bitcoin hits its all-time high, and some will pop off after Bitcoin hits its all-time high. But it's all at about the same time period historically. And so here's what he wrote. Here's my attempt to illustrate why I think price action speeds up in Bitcoin, and we move higher faster than people are ready for. At the end of a trend, the most explosive phase trend angle hits around 70 degrees. Otherwise, trend angles are around 35 degrees. This would suggest roughly double the speed finish than what we've seen so far in 2022 through 2024. Of course, I could be wrong, but euphoria could make that possible. Okay, yeah, could be wrong, but I doubt it, at least conceptually, because for every cycle there's ever been, the euphoria, it does happen at the end and things do pick up. It's just a really short period of time. I don't think this time is going to be different. And so you can see what he's talking about if you're looking at the screen. Look at this. Look at the angles here, and they're pretty close. Like this one leading up into this, to where we're at now. He's noted that it's been about 32.91 degrees, and now it's just started to pick up. So you can see what he's highlighting here, a little over 70 degrees. So if it's going to persist, just as what we've come to expect in the past, yeah, it gets real crazy real fast. And look at this. Yeah, you should just look at the screen, honestly, if you're not. And you can see going back the last couple cycles here, like this is what happened. And so I remember jumping into crypto November 2017, and Bitcoin, the first time I bought it, the day I bought it, it was $6,500. And by the end of the month, and it wasn't a straight line up literally, it went a little down, but then it quickly went up. By the end of the month, Bitcoin was about $10,000. I remember that it's roughly around there, around the time of Thanksgiving, towards the end of November. And so think about this, to just kind of drive this point home. Bitcoin, and it took a whole year to get from, in 2017, to get from like about 1,000 to 10,000, 11 months, right? Then, in a matter of just a few weeks, it went from 10,000 to almost 20,000. So the pace increased dramatically. That's the blow-off top here. So the idea is true, whether or not it's exactly 70 degrees, the idea is what's most important here. This is what we've come to expect based on historic precedent, as more money, because liquidity begets liquidity, and attention begets attention, and people are going to be telling their family, their friends, their whole family about what's going on in crypto, and if they don't know what's going on, they'll get excited about it, and they'll jump in, and then it's just everybody piles on. Everybody in the pile, right? That's what happens, and that's why you see all of this. And that's the opportunity. That's the exit liquidity, frankly. They drive the price up, and they're adults. They get to do whatever the hell they want. And that's the exit liquidity, frankly. And that's how it is every cycle. And it's true of the stock market, too. You have, obviously, this is to a more exaggerated degree because it's crypto. There's way more volatility. It's easier to get bigger swings. But it's the same thing conceptually true in the stock market. You get moments of exuberance. Market gets hot. People get drawn into it. They're adults. They make their own decision. And then they're betting against you. You're betting against them. And you get to see who's right. Now, I think we're on the right side here. I think it makes sense in these moments of exuberance to take profit off the table, especially when XRP gets into double digits, if that happens, which won't surprise me if it does. Here's a post from XRP chart analyst Bobby A. And he wrote, "The next coin to print like XRP is XRP." So that one made me laugh, and I was like, yup. Even if it's not literally true. Yeah, XRP, like it's going to print like XRP. And there are so many analysts that have been pointing out recently that I follow that have been saying, okay, just based on, without getting into the particulars, because I'm not a chart guy myself, I don't want to be, it just bores me to tears. But tons of analysts have articulated why, yeah, first burst, really exciting, XRP up over 400% in however many weeks. But so many have pointed out, these analysts had called for this breakout, saying, hey, 7-year symmetrical triangle, it's going to break to the upside. They've been saying the next major burst up is going to be potentially like, double what we just saw. And there's a little bit of discrepancy depending on which analyst you're talking about, but that could mean upwards of $7 or $8 by the time that portion of the upside trend plays out. And then there's also this from XRP chart analyst Dom. Let me highlight this one first. I got 2 posts from him. The first one was from yesterday morning, talking about XRP here. And he shared this screen grab. He said, XRP. Many asking for an order book update, but keep in mind, I will only share updates if I think they are significant to price action, like when we hit $1.90. There's nothing substantial until around the $2.60 level. It seems like the market is waiting on Bitcoin right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little dip beforehand if Bitcoin can't fully break out here. Still patient, we are still far away from important breakout levels. And then he provided this update just last night on the same topic. Where to go? Yeah, this is the one. All right. Yes, this is at 8:15 p.m. Central Time last night. And he said, XRP update. Price had a little dip as anticipated above. We are just chopping between important levels. It seems volatility is slowing down and price is compressing. Still just patience. Seems like alts are watching Bitcoin closely. Yeah, exactly, because the whole market moves in tandem here. So volatility slowing down, price compressing. These are things that happen before breaks. They can happen before breaks. I certainly know that, and I've witnessed it a ton of times. And it's the same thing. That's what I was getting at the beginning part of the video. So it can happen on higher time frames and lower time frames, meaning it can happen big picture and in the short term. And in the big picture, we just saw what happened over the last nearly 7 years. XRP price compressed, and it got less and less volatile over a span of years after breaking out over 80,000%, or roughly around there anyway, for that 2017 bull run. So it took some time consolidating. It was also artificially suppressed price-wise, XRP was, because of the SEC, and then it finally broke out of that. And so on a shorter time frame, meaning sooner rather than later, the same type of thing can happen here. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Insight UK, and he said, XRP daily oscillators look ready to turn it up again. We are close to starting a larger wave 3. Target $8 plus. Yeah, so I've seen that type of comment from chart analyst Credible Crypto also. He's been saying, hey, don't be surprised if the next leg up, it's more like, close to double what you saw in the first leg. So that could mean like a, roughly a $4 increase from where we are now. It could be more. So if you're talking about maybe the $7 or $8 region, which by the way isn't the top for the market for XRP, that's for the next major leg up. Then there's this post from chart analyst Dr. Magic. This is XRP against the M1 money supply, and he says, once we get through this resistance soon, next target is all-time highs. Do the math, boys. Here's a post from chart analyst Ali Martinez talking about a bull flag. So check this out. XRP appears to be forming a bull flag. Still, the TD sequential recently presented a sell signal on the 4-hour chart, which leads me to believe XRP may see a brief correction before a breakout above $2.46 that could send the price to $4. Now, I'll note that Ali Martinez has been talking about double-digit price action for XRP this market cycle, so when he's talking about $4, just to be really clear, and you can see if you're looking on the screen here, time-wise, what he's talking about. I mean, you're talking about soon, like within the next week. And I'm seeing tons of expectations along those lines based on historic precedent, which I think is worth considering. When chart analysts use technical analysis to make time predictions, I always kind of roll my eyes a little bit, even if I'm a big fan of the particular analyst, because nobody can consistently do that. They can't. But having a time range based on historic precedent, it's worth noting that, even though you don't know for sure. And so I find that to be totally reasonable anyway, just on a personal level. So that's what he's getting at. Like, this would make sense anywhere around there. And if it takes a little bit longer because it takes Bitcoin to do whatever Bitcoin's doing, fine. But we are at that point where we don't have to wait much longer. Let me say again, but when we were in the bear market, and for the last few years, we had to wait for notable moves, long periods of times, months, more than months at times, half a year, before something interesting would happen price-wise with XRP, where you could be like, okay, it's moving so-and-so based on what we might expect based on so-and-so, and whatever the chart analysts may be making. Given that we're in a bull run, though, we don't have to wait. We really don't. I mean, if you're tired of this, I'm just like oh, that's cute, Buttercup. Are you new here? Because this is blazing fast speed. Like, this is seriously blazing fast speed. Like, if you just jumped in like October, the beginning of November, you're spoiled, okay? And I get that, because I jumped in at the tail end of a bull run in November 2017, so I get it. Maybe you are new if you're listening. But this is not the norm. It's the most fun part, so congratulations for getting to experience this. It is the most fun part, what's at hand right now. But no, this is nothing. The time we're having to wait here for this to consolidate just a little bit to burst the upside, no. And it's a virtual inevitability that it's going to. Like, even this piece, this is amazing to me. Like I said at the outset of the video, Coindesk, they hate XRP over there. They are toxic Bitcoin maxis over there. And even if they're not all maxis, They hate XRP irrationally. They do have, over there, broadly speaking, tons of them, very clearly, XRP derangement syndrome, and it turns their brains into applesauce. They can use logic and reason and data to come to reasonable conclusions about pretty much anything in life, including in the world of crypto. But when it comes to XRP specifically, my brains are applesauce now. Duh. That's pretty much what happens. But take a look at this. This is cool. From Coindesk, no less. It's amazing to see this. I guess they just don't want to be wrong-footed here, so they had this guy write up this piece. XRP price raises bull flag as $5 call options heat up. I kid you not, from Coindesk. You'll love to see it. XRP is hot, and it is probably setting up for another big rally. That's the message from the price chart and options market. The payments-focused cryptocurrency is down 10% this week. The pullback, however, has taken the shape of a bull flag. Folks, isn't that in line with what chart analyst Ali Martinez literally just said? I just showed you. This is very similar, conceptually. And then they write, this technical analysis pattern usually slopes in the opposite direction of the preceding sharp uptrend and, more often than not, recharges bulls' engines for further gains. The breakout should be expected in the direction of the preceding trend, provided it is steep and sharp. Charles Kirkpatrick, a chartered market technician and the president of Kirkpatrick and Company, Inc., said in the book Technical Analysis and the Complete Resource for Finance Market Technicians. Flags preceded by a rise of 90% or more have almost zero failure rate and an average return of 69%, Kirkpatrick added. That's right. It's preceded by a rise of 90% or more. And so they go into note, I don't need to read the whole article. You got the idea, but they do note that XRP had they wrote here, XRP is forming a bull flag after a rally of nearly 500%. So they said if it's over 90%, there's almost zero failure rate at that point, and an average return of 69%. And we're talking about the short term here, just to be clear. We're not talking about the peak of this thing. We're talking about the short term. So nobody knows what's going to happen. I don't. But I have an idea of what's most likely based on historic precedent and what reputable analysts, broadly speaking, agree is likely to occur. That's all we can do here in the space as regular people, right? That's all we can do here. Because even the professionals out there, none of them know for sure. So what I find is most useful is what I'm doing here and highlighting on the channel is taking a look at tons of different reputable analysts. And then, when you start to notice a consensus among them, if they're independently coming to the same or similar conclusions, there's probably something to that. And I have found that when that occurs, they're almost always right. And what's probable at that point based on that consensus usually plays out. And sometimes the improbable comes out. So what they think is going to happen on the whole, even if most of them think it, sometimes the improbable plays out, but not usually. That would be rare. That's been my experience in tracking these analysts. And it changed, like the analysts I track, it changes a little bit. Ebbs and flows. I find out about new analysts, and then some I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be following that guy. So it changes over time. But most of the analysts that I'm following, like I've been following for a long time and for good reason, So all that to say, based on historic precedents and the analysts that I follow, who I think are worth listening to, what's most probable, though not certain, is a dramatic move to the upside in the short term, and I'll not be surprised if we do see double-digit XRP price action this cycle. I don't know if we're going to see it, but that won't surprise me in the least. This is the time to be excited. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because if anything I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.